Let's pull some clean sounds with the new Marshall JMP Synergy module. In the demo video that I did for this over the weekend, which I'll put a link to in the video description, I mostly focused on the crunch and high gain tones that you can get out of this module. They sound fantastic, but you can set it up for cleaner sounds and as a pedal platform. We will hear a couple of pedals into this, and I'll show you how you can use it so that you've got a clean sound on one channel and then a big dirty sound on the other. I'm playing a Fender Ultralux Vintage on the neck pickup at the moment. We're going to start out, I guess, the way you would try to set up the stock amp to do a cleaner sound. You turn your volume control on the amp down, because on a real Plexi, basically that volume control, it's really just kind of like a gain control. It starts loud and then it just gets slightly louder, but a lot dirtier. They also have this big fat bright cap across the first channel on there, like the lead channel, the brilliant channel, whatever you want to call it. Normally the second channel or the normal channel does not have that on there. I've always found with those stock amps that when you turn the volume down, channel 1 is too bright, channel 2 is too dark. So you could jumper them and try to blend those on there. Another common mod you could do to the amps would be to clip the bright cap on there. And you can kind of do all of these things on the module. The first thing we want to set up though is this master volume all the way up. That's going to give you the maximum amount of headroom out of the module. I think for the dirty sounds, I definitely preferred having the master somewhere around noon on there. When I cranked it up, it got kind of angrier and dirtier, but I liked it back a little bit just because it was a bit tighter, almost had like a modded, idealized kind of sound out of it. Nevertheless, let's hear the starting point. I've got this volume 1 bright switch in the down position. This would be like the stock amp. You could hear that flicking that switch into the middle position gets rid of all that super annoying fizzy high end on there. It fattens everything up. I personally think it makes it a little bit too dark. Flicking it into the up position though, this would be like having a three-way mod on your amplifier to select a different bright cap value. And I really like that on there. It's a lower value than the stock value. I think for the higher gain sounds, I like the down position. That stock value just gives you that Marshall girth and grind that we all know. But on the up position there, with the volume quite low on here, I think that works really, really well. Another thing that we could do to make this sound slightly fatter, it's the classic jumpered Plexi thing on the real amps. You might take volume 1's low input and volume 2's high input, run a jumper cable between them, and then you could use volume 1 and volume 2 like a mid-range and treble and a bass gain control on there. You don't have to do that on the module. They are automatically jumpered. So we'll start with volume 2's bright in the middle on there, and just a little bit goes a long way on here. Have a listen. If you wanted even more clarity out of that, you could use the bright cap switch in the up position on volume 2 as well. Again, this is something you wouldn't find on a classic Plexi. I think there's a nice thing about this module where they haven't just taken the exact feature set and recreated it. They've tried to recreate an authentic and an idealized experience on there. Let's hear that. And then what I'll do is I'll back off this master volume control. You kind of hear how it takes out a bit of the low end on there. I think with a clean sound, I definitely like it higher. With a dirty sound, it does have the effect where it tightens it up. So you can kind of use that to taste. such a seemingly simple circuit, this gives you so many different ways to find your ideal tone on here. I kind of think of volume 2 and the bass control as doing very similar but not identical tasks on there. As I turn volume 2 up, I generally turn the bass down and vice versa. The bright switches on there are so fantastic when it comes to tone shaping on there. And I think understanding how that works on Marshalls and just about any other amp is really important when you're trying to dial in a particular tone on there. And then having this master volume and essentially the 0-watt power amp in there to cop some of the character of the real amp's power section is a really cool thing that Synergy are doing. I'm glad they've included that on there. Now I have set this up where I like it. We'll hear a couple of pedals into it, but I've set up the second channel for the classic Marshall rock thing on there. So I've got volume 1 at around 1 o'clock. I've got volume 2 all the way off. I'm gonna have this bright switch for volume 1 in the down position. That will be the angriest and gainiest. The bass is quite low, middle and treble cranked, and my personal preference on here, again, just because it sounds a bit tighter, is have this master just below noon. Hear the clean sound on the neck pickup, and then channel 2 for the dirty sound. Pull up stumps for now. Again, if you want to watch my full demo with the JMP, check it out using the link in the video description. You can also find various ways to support what I'm doing here on the channel. I'd love to hear from all of you. How do you like to set up a Marshall for seemingly non-Marshall things like clean tones? Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.